In this video, I will teach you how to create a GER or incident report for Skip Dodge. You'll notice that I've been using the term GER and incident report. Those two terms are interchangeable. The older term here at Support Services of Virginia was an incident report. The newer term, once we started using TheraP, is GER. You'll hear people use both of those terms. When someone tells you they need you to fill out an incident report, what they mean is they want you to complete a GER in TheraP. Let me show you how to create a GER in TheraP. Remember, when you're doing your practice sessions, you need to make sure that you're still in test mode, which I am here. You're then going to, just like you've been doing, go to Individual, and you'll see a tab that says General Event Reports, or GERs, and we want to go and select New. For this practice session, we're going to be working in Test Group Home, and we're going to be completing a GER for Skip Dodge. This is what it looks like. What you're going to notice is the individual's name is at the top of this form. The program, which is Test Group Home, is listed here. You also have two different dates on your GER. The first date is the date of the report, the time that you're sitting down to actually write the report itself. The second date on here is the date of the event. The date of the report can be no later than 24 hours after the date of the event. You are required to complete a GER within 24 hours of any incident. So for this example, the date of the report is going to be today. So I'm sitting down today to write this report. The event date I'm going to pretend is for yesterday. So I'm going to go back to the 31st. It's going to ask you to select a program if it wasn't at the responsible program, and there's a drop-down button where you can select any that apply. For this example, I'm going to write that it happened at home, and I'm going to describe in the next section what the event was that happened just before the event occurred. Remember our ABCs of behavior. This is the section where we're capturing the antecedent, what happened just before the event occurred. And my example that just magically appeared in here, Skip was getting prepared to see his girlfriend for a date. He went into the kitchen to get some Diet Coke. Again, in my description, it's just objective, straight to the facts of what happened. Once I've written the event that occurred just prior to the incident, I'm then going to come down here, and typically I'm going to select this box, which just simply means that it happened at the same location as the program address. And that's going to automatically fill in the group home address there for you. If you're working in-home, it'll automatically fill that in. If you're working at the day support address will automatically fill in. I then need to come down here and I need to add an event. This was not an event with an injury, so I'm not going to select that. It was not a med error, so I'm not selecting that one. We never use restraint related to behavior, and we never use restraint. You may have to use death, and we will be using other. So I'm selecting one of these four options. And because it was not an injury, I'm simply going to click on other, and a new box will appear. You want to maximize your box, and this is where we describe the event itself. So what type of event was it? If I click on this arrow, it gives me a drop-down option, and I'm going to click any that apply. And you'll notice there are a lot of options here. Take some time to look around TheraP and read through the different options that you have in this section. For this demonstration, I'm going to click on accident with no apparent injury. The time of the event, we're going to say occurred at, let's do 9:00 a.m. And this event, was it observed or did you discover it? Sometimes you may discover an event, and that'll make more sense when we're looking at doing your skin wounds or your bruise logs. But for this event, I've observed it. Specific location, where did it happen? And this event happened in the kitchen. And then I write my event summary here. And again, this is going to show up for you in just a moment. Here's my event summary example. Skip began cursing when he spilled Diet Coke on his shirt. This DSP asked Skip if he was okay. Skip threw his cup of Diet Coke at this DSP and told this DSP to move out of the way. His girlfriend would be here soon and he needed to change his shirt. You notice that in my event summary, I'm only writing what the individual did during the event. There'll be a section in just a few moments where you can document what you did to intervene or what steps you took during the event itself. What I'm then going to do is not worry about this witness box, don't worry about that at all, and simply hit add. When I click add, this section now automatically becomes a part of my GER. So this is the stuff I just included and it's been added. I then need to scroll down and I need to answer this information here. When it comes to abuse suspected, it's always no. Neglect is always no. Exploitation is always no. If you do suspect abuse, neglect, or exploitation, that is going to be reported directly to your supervisor or the internal human rights advocate. She will ask you to complete other documentation besides this type of information we have here. But because it's a part of the GER, it still needs to be in there, and we're just always going to select no. Who's reporting it? Your name should automatically appear in here, but if it doesn't, you can, of course, use the drop-down arrow to find your name. If someone else reported it to you, then their name would go in there. Reporter's relationship to the individual, you are going to be their staff. And again, if a family member reported it, then that would be family, so on and so forth. Once we're done with that, we're going to scroll down and there's a section called notifications. Anytime that an incident occurs, you're going to need to notify somebody of the incident. If you're working in residential after hours, you may need to notify leadership on call or your site coordinator. If you're working in day support, you would need to notify your site coordinator of the incident. The notification needs to be done as soon as the incident is stable. Your documentation needs to be done within 24 hours. So what I would do here is I would go down to add notification information. I'm going to maximize that box and I'm going to type in the person's name that I notified. For this example, I'm going to use Andy Plumley. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to describe who they are. And for this one, they're leadership on call. And I don't have a selection for that, so I'm going to click on Other, and I'm going to type in On Call. The date of the notification, again, needs to be done immediately after the situation's been stabilized, or if you need help during the situation. And so that happened on the 31st. I'm going to say that I notified her at 9:10 a.m. and my name should show up here that I'm the one that notified her. The method of notification, whichever one applies, and for this practice scenario, I'm going to say phone, and I'm going to click add. And then once again, it becomes a part of my GER documentation. Now, if I need to add another person, I just simply can put add another notification on here, and it will list everyone that I notified about this event. I'm then going to scroll down and I need to fill out corrective action taken. The corrective action taken is what did you do during the incident? What did you do to stabilize the situation? What did you do to prevent it from getting worse? So on and so forth. So this is the section where we write what the DSP did. And again, this is going to magically appear for you. And here's my example. Provided plenty of personal space, kept eyes on supervision, and secured any potential weapons. After Skip changed his shirt, he asked this DSP, "How do I look?" DSP said, "Awesome as usual." Skip apologized for cursing and throwing his Diet Coke. He stated, I was not mad at you. I kind of messed up with my writing there. Sorry about that. And then he said, "I'm sorry." And so that's that example. And again, sorry I messed up, but I'm really not willing to record this again for you guys. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you what would go in the plan for future action. Now, if you're not really sure what to put here for a plan of future action, that's fine. You don't have to write anything. But as a DSP, you do have some of the most valuable information for us to think about how we could prevent things from occurring in the future. This is your chance to tell us, what did you learn from the event? What did you learn about what might work better next time? This is a guess, and sometimes our guesses are wrong and sometimes they're right. But taking that chance of guessing gives us a better chance of creating better supports for the individual. So let me show you an example of what that would look like for your plan for corrective action. Stay close to him in what appears to be high stress situations and give him plenty of reminders to slow down and reassure him. If Skip appears agitated, he's pacing, using curse words, avoid talking to Skip during those times. When he's that upset, talking to him just makes it worse. So notice that I'm just writing, what did I learn from what occurred? This is what I want to try in the future to see if, we can avoid this challenge behavior in the future. All right, once you're done with all of that stuff, you're going to come down here. You'll notice there's a section that says review follow-up comments. You do not fill out that section. That is for your site coordinator, for the behavioral specialist. And what they're going to do is they're going to write a comment sometimes about, yes, this is good advice, we should do this, going to include it into the ISP, or whatever action they're going to do to follow up to make sure that this doesn't occur again, or we have the best chance of it not occurring again. Any external attachments might go here. What you're then going to do is click submit, and your GER is finished. Oh, but guess what? I forgot something. So that's good because it helps you to see what happens. Notice I went to hit submit and it won't let me. It's because I didn't fill in something that I was supposed to. That will happen anytime that you are doing any type of form in Fair App. If it's a required section, you'll get this notification. And so I'm glad this happened because I haven't showed you an example of this yet. So notice here where it says notification level required, that's my little hint that I didn't fill in that portion. And so with notification level, it's always going to be low. Regardless of what it is, simply click low on your notification. And what we're going to do then is just check through and make sure I didn't miss anything else. And it looks like I captured everything. And so I'm going to now try to hit submit. And it worked, so everything is filled out good. What will then happen is your supervisor will get a notification that they have a GER to approve on their dashboard. Once they've approved it, if they have written notes back to you that they want you to review, that will show up in your to-do list. This is a way that we can communicate what's happening. So always make sure, like we said at the beginning of the training, you complete your to-do list prior to your shift beginning. So that way you can get any information that's needed from other coworkers or from your supervisor. That will help your shift go a little bit smoother. All right, what you're going to do next is proceed to the next slide.